So moving into step 5, seeding. I know we're kind of going on a bit here. We're over the time, but it's because you're asking some great questions and I won't stop talking. But I will try and I'm not going to rush through this. I'm going to give you all the information that you need. So into seeding then. Key thing, why do we need to seed? A lot of people scarify and then go, no, it's all right, I don't want to seed, it's expensive. It is, look, it is. We covered this earlier. But you need to seed because when you scarify, you remove all the weak grasses and you create all these bare patches. Good grass coverage can prevent other issues like weeds and weed grasses coming into the lawn. You can also prevent moss ingressing if you have a really dense lawn, but don't forget you still need to address that causation factor of compacted soils, i.e. you need to have it aerated. It produces a much better aesthetic. New young grass, first year, second year grass always looks better. And then grass naturally dies anyway and it needs replacing. If you don't replace it, nature will, and it will be weeds and annual meadow grass and horrible stuff that doesn't look great. Overseed your lawn, 1 kilo per 30 square meters, same as the fertilizer rate. If you're going onto bare areas or a completely new lawn, 1 kilo for every 20 square meters. Don't be fooled into thinking the more seed I put down, the better my lawn will look. It might do for a very short amount of time, but you're going to encourage disease. We still need to have air movement around the plant and around the crown. And if you cram it in with too much grass, it's going to be fighting for the same nutrition. You're going to have to feed it more and you're going to encourage disease as it gets really warm and moist at the crown area. So don't overseed. How to choose your seed. If you go there, you will see loads of different grass types. Don't worry about them all. There are 3 you want to be aware of. And actually, this is only a bit of background information. Generally, you find ryegrass, you find fescues, and you find bent grass. And yes, there are different versions, cultivars of each one of those. But if you're looking at ryegrass, it got a really bad rap. Years ago, it was an ugly grass. It was a big fat sword and it was just didn't have much colour and much vigour, but it's really been refined recently now, so much so that it is the exclusive grass for cricket wickets because of how hard wearing it is. So if you've got a family lawn, a high percentage of ryegrass in your mix will mean it's really resistant to wear, great for high traffic areas, and it really binds the soils and is really great at binding other grasses as well, so produces a much better family focused lawn. Fescue grasses, kind of the bulk really of the domestic lawn care, really fine swords, which produces this lovely aesthetic and they hold a great colour. You'll get a really dense lawn with fescues, and then some of the fescues as well actually creep and they will move into bare areas and spread via rhizomaceous growth just under the surface. And then if you get looking at bent grass, this is kind of like a different thing altogether. It is ultra fine. Those of you who play golf will be playing on bent grass greens most of the time. It likes, stroke, must be cut short. It is a really hungry grass. You need to feed it a lot. It is really high maintenance. It's really susceptible to disease, but it does produce the best aesthetic. So what you will generally find is any seed you buy will be a mix of 2 or 3 of those, sometimes a few other grasses as well. So the only reason you need to be aware of that is what grass seed do you want? So what are you looking for from your lawn? That lawn you see behind me, by the way, that is Family First lawn seed. That is a family lawn. It's robust. It's got 55% rye, 45% fescue. It's hard wearing, and people hear that and go, oh, I want it to look great. I think, to be fair, it looks great. You know, it doesn't mean that you can't get the stripes and you can't have the vigor. So that is our Family First seed. If you want to take it a step further and you've got to keep off the grass sign that you present proudly on your front lawn, then Envy Law seed is the one for you. 50% rye, 45% fescue, but 5% bent grass. Now, that doesn't sound a lot, but when you see the bent grass seeds, they are tiny compared to the normal rye and fescue seeds. So there's actually a lot more of them in there. So you're going to get that beautiful aesthetic, but because we're mixing it with rye and fescues, you're going to get that bit of hard wearing, bit of disease resistance. But you will have to maintain that lawn a little bit more. Be more generous with your aerating throughout the year, with your verticutting and scarifying. So those are the two seed options, really. How to seed, you've seen all this before. This is exactly the same as fertilizing. You're going to go up and down the garden with half of your seed. You're then going to go across the garden with the other half of your seed. The only difference this time is you want to drag a broom or a brush or a drag mat or something just to get that seed that's resting on the sward of the existing grass lying flat on the soil, or even in the holes. The more seed soil contact we can create, the better your germination rate will be. Make sure your soil temperature is above 8 degrees. Not an issue in the autumn, but actually when we're looking at spring lawn renovations, like today you go, it's beautiful out there, it's too cold still. Get yourself Amazon, get a soil temperature monitor. They're about, I don't know, 15 quid. Chuck it in and make sure we're going to not just be at 8 degrees soil temperature, which is very different to air temperature, but we're going to stay above 8 degrees as well. Don't go too early. There's nothing wrong with waiting a few extra weeks. Those are the spreaders. You can use any of those this time. All brilliant. So basically you have to fertilise before seeding. You can fertilise before seeding or immediately after. Those two processes are interchangeable. As long as you're doing them on the day of the renovation, you're doing them right there, it doesn't really matter. Just don't do them kind of days or weeks apart. They're both, ultimately, the seed and the soil are both going down into the same hole. It doesn't matter in which order they go down. So you can do whatever you put your hand on first.
You mentioned the 8 degrees soil temperature. We had a question from Martin, basically saying, I want to start doing this now. It did point out that it's all about the soil temperature. So the birds will eat all your seed.
Yeah. So a lot of people go early, and again, I'm looking outside. I want to go and cut my grass, but I know it's frosting again tonight, so I'm going to resist. Just be a little bit more patient. We wouldn't recommend any time before April. And that's only if we're having a warm April. Soil temperatures are absolutely key to good germination. Just let us know. I wonder why you want to do it now. Is it you just got an itch to scratch, or you got a party that you're planning? Because there's a few things you can do to reduce that germination period. I won't go into it here because we're already running over, but on our YouTube channel we've got a video about pre-germinating seed where we soak it in water, and then when we go out it germinates in 4 days time. So go and have a gander at that one, and then let us know how we can help you get that lawn ready for something that it sounds like you got planning.